This tutorial is going to be using packages from NPM. I will show you a little project on using express, axios, nodemon, dotenv, and brief details on jest. Without further ado, I'm going to show you. Okay, this is what your NPM package JSON will look like. Okay, go to your project's root folder. You can put npm in it and hit enter. Okay, it'll come up like this. It'll ask you your name for your project, the version, which you can hit enter. Description of the project, you can enter or hit enter. The main, which is going to be server.js, which we'll go back to it anyways. Scripts, you'll have a test script and a start script. Test script will be jest -- coverage. Start script will be nodemon server. Okay, and then you don't have the dependencies yet, or the dev dependencies quite yet. Okay, so after you fill that out and you click yes, it'll give you a project JSON, package JSON file. Click on it, it'll look similar to this. Okay, and I'll show you how to add these things right now. Okay, so we can go npm I axios dot env express. Okay, for dependencies, and you hit enter, and that will install them. You can do it one by one also. npm I express or npm I dot env. Okay, doesn't matter, you can do it one by one or all together like I showed you. And then for once you install those, you'll have a dependencies with axios dot env and express. Okay, depending on the time you try it, versions might be different. Okay, so now to do the dev dependencies, will be npm I capital D, and we'll write jest space and nodemon. Okay, that'll put us install jest, which is a testing, and nodemon, which will give us live reloads, so we don't have to keep reloading it to see what's going on in our project. And you push enter, and after that's downloaded, it'll give you your dev dependencies, which will be jest and nodemon. Versions might be different. Come back up here to your scripts, make sure your test script points to jest -- coverage, and for our start script, it's going to be nodemon server, and then up here where it says our main, okay, will be server.js. Okay, so a couple things I want to show you. We'll start with axios here, which is just the npm js.com. You can look up all the packages. It'll tell you how to install it, what's going on with it, features, table of contents, depending on how the documentation is. It's usually pretty decent. It'll tell you using different package managers, Yarn, Bower. Okay, and it'll give you examples also to use it. Okay, what you're gonna see in a minute, which I'll show you. Okay, so this is gonna be our server. Okay, this is what we're turning on our server. And this is also where we're going to be using .env. Okay, so we're going to do a constant HTTP, which is our server, equals require HTTP. We're going to require our app, which is our app.js. Okay, app, it's in our app folder, and then app.js, which is the last one. Create server, app, and we're going to listen on which is, this is normally port, but instead we're using .env, so it's going to be process.env.port, which will give us this file right here. We'll make a file called .env. We'll put port equals 4000, no spaces, and also we'll put the URL that we'll be using, which will be to do URL. URL is capitalized, and then equals the link to the API that we're using. Okay. Now back to our server. That initiates it. Okay. So when it turns on, server turns on, so we know server is running on process.env.port, which would be our port 3000 or port 4000. Okay. Which would look like this. It'd be npm start, and it'll come up like this. Server is running on port 4000. Okay. Now if we want to do, we put rs to restart the server in case we run into a problem, or we can use Control C to exit out the server and then reinitiate with npm start again. We'll leave that running. Okay, so look up server. Let's take a look at that app.js here. Okay, this is where we're going to use Express. We're going to use the router. Okay, Express router. Okay, so we're pulling in our to-do router. This will be our middleware, our cores, so we can use it across. Okay, so cores is our cross-origin resource sharing. Okay, is an HTTP header based on a mechanism that allows a server to indicate any origins, domain, scheme, or port other than its own from which a browser should permit loading resources. Okay, so what we do right here, what is an example of cores? Okay, so what happens here, for example, example.com uses a text font that's hosted on fonts.com. So fonts.com will be an outside source. Okay, so without cores, cross-origin resource sharing, we would not be able to access it on example.com. Now, if it came from example.com, it would be automatically accessible anyways, because it's on your local server from it. Okay. So, after our cores, which will allow us also methods, get, post, put, delete. We can put patch in there too. Okay, then we got our service status. We'll call localhost 4000 in Postman. That'll give us our status, which is our status message is connected, and we'll console load down here connected also. Okay, so I'll show you what happens. This is our command status, which is message connected. As you can see, I just ran it again twice. Now look in the browser. Console says connected, connected also, because of the console log. Okay. Now we got our routers, which will be our to-do routers, or well, localhost / to-dos, which goes to our to-do router. Okay. And this will be our error handling, so we get back a message and we know what the problem is. So we're gonna move on to what do we got here? We got the two servers, that's the axios, and we got here is Express. Okay, this is our Express and Express router. Okay, so what we're doing is I need that. So go back here. All right. So it's calling the Express router, which is to-do's router. dot get, which is localhost 4000, and that will get us the to-do service, which is from Axios. The to-do service makes the call using Axios to get the URL. Now, if you remember earlier, we used the process.env port. Now we're using the to-do URL one, okay, which is require.env.config. And I'll show you again. Let's do URL, which is right here. It makes a call out to that, and that will return us all our to-dos. Okay. Now the next one, localhost 4000/ID of the to-dos, that'll return us one to-do by ID. Okay, which calls us to-do service ID. To-do service ID, Axios get URL plus ID. Okay, so what happens is we go to the URL to-dos, reload that again, and that'll give us all our to-dos. There's 200 of them, and then we can put any number in. And that'll bring them up by the ID. There's 200 of them. Okay, that's the 200th one. If we put 201, we get our error code, which is our message, request failed with status code 404. That's where our error handling comes in play. It gives us code so we can easily identify what's going on. Now, I know there's really not much to see, but I wanted to go over installing and using Axios, okay, an Express router, okay, and also cores, our error handling, which is key to a lot of things, and a little bit of middleware. Technically it's all middleware, but alright, let's see. I get everything. Yeah. So we got a service message connected. We got all our to-dos. And we got one by ID. See how it's in the console here? Get ID, connected. Get by ID. Thank you for taking a look. I tried to make the project small as possible and with as much information as possible. All the packages here can be found at npmjs.com. There is nothing else used here besides that. Let me try something real quick. Okay, so what I just did is we used jest, which is our jest coverage. Right here, you just see them pop up. Okay, to test it. That's where jest comes in. That's what jest is. Okay, which I'll show you. That'd be jest.js.io. It's a pretty simple one. Let's run code test. Make sure everything's working properly. Okay, and I'll show you my test. This is my test results. Not results, I'm sorry. This is my test itself. Okay, testing random things. Making sure everything. And it did pass by everything. and that is under coverage. You can click on iCode report, and then you can click on HTML, and then you can open a live server. There we go. Those are clicked on the page, and it will show you your test on the HTML page also right there. Okay. Thank you for taking a look. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I gave you a little bit of info to use. I appreciate it very much.